In this lesson for our Seven Nation Army 1C project, we're going to start including just a little bit more from the actual Seven Nation Army song. Now, one thing I noticed about the song was that the main riff that was played on the kind of lower instrument, bass or whatever, comes back on a distorted guitar. So I thought it'd be really nice to have that distorted guitar in and actually play that bass riff an octave higher. So this is what I've done. I've only put it in a couple of places because I didn't want to overdo it. Now, the first time it comes in, I've just sustained the note. Okay, so I've just used this E from the root of the E minor chord, and I've just had a sustain. Now, in the actual song, he's playing some kind of power chords, so you might want to look at the root and the fifth on that. That's completely up to you. For me at the moment, because I've got quite a thick sound for my guitar, I've just gone for the root, but I may change that and I may put the fifth in as well. So let's just have a little look at this as it sounds so far. You're going to hear this only out the right ear, because one thing I've also done is I've done some automatic double tracking on this as well. So I've panned one to the left and one to the right, okay? So this second one, sorry, this is going to be in the left ear. This second one has just got a slight bit of delay on it to help thicken the texture and actually use the whole spectrum of the stereo field as well. So I've just put a delay on here of 40 ticks, so minus 40 ticks. So that's just a nice tiny bit of delay in the actual signal, and it just gives you a nice kind of thicker feel for that. So here's actually it's playing both together. Here it is. So just a nice long sustained note on that root note of the first chord, okay? So how that sounds in the actual piece is quite lush actually. So let me just play a couple of bars into it. So it just adds a nice little bit of impact and it helps build the piece. Now I'm not going to bring that back in until this fourth development. And when it comes back here, it's going to come back as that main riff, and all I've done is I've copied this bass riff up, and then I've selected all the notes and I've pressed Alt and clicked up until I get the octave. Okay, so here's my root note E. So it was at E2, and now it's at E3. Okay, so it's nice and easy, and I've copied that across. Okay, this is just the bass riff up an octave. So let me just play you that, see what you reckon. Now, another thing you're going to want to do is try and find variation. So one of the variants that I found was during this kind of middle hook, and how I just varied it is really simple. Same again, I just copied the bass riff up, but then I just dropped a whole bunch of notes. So you just get this kind of first phrase here, first phrase again, and then the very last phrase. And actually it does have quite a nice little impact, but you can choose to arrange this however you want. You should be looking for variation to kind of make that interesting and develop your kind of compositional ideas or arrangement ideas. Have a listen to what I've got here so far then. I'll take it from the break this time. And it also helps with the kind of call and response kind of pattern, which you see quite a lot in house music as well. So there's something to talk about in your booklet. If you do some kind of call and response thing, that's quite common as well. And then this final phrase is just the bass riff again in its entirety. And I just play it once and then I let it kind of just do its thing after that. And it's quite nice and it adds to the arrangement again. Because there's already quite a lot going on in that section, so I didn't need to take that too much further. Now, let's have a look what we've got here. Now we're using, let me just close this down. We're using the EXS24, and the starting patch that I've used is this hard rock guitar. Okay, so that can be found under guitars, hard rock, okay? The pedal board was the one that came in on it, so I haven't changed any of this. I've doubled up on the flanger though, I've doubled up onto modulation, so I've got a flanger here, but I've also put I did double up on the flanger, sorry, I thought I'd put a phaser in, but it was another flanger, just to kind of really add to that impact a little bit. And I've also changed some of the settings on the amplifier itself. So I've boosted the gain, I've boosted the bass frequencies, and I've also boosted some of the mid frequencies. And I think I've also tweaked some of these effects. So you will have to do it until you find the right sound that works for you. And once again, I've lowered it in the mix. I'm still quite conservative about my mix at this point. I'm just trying to make everything fit as best. I will do a full mix, but at the moment I'm just trying to make everything fit so I can hear it and that it works. So that's pretty much all I've got to say about this. So this brings in another element of Seven Nation Army, so it's something nice that you can write about in your logbook. And I think I've got about 2 more parts that I want to do for this song before I'm ready to start mixing, okay? So I'll see you in the next lesson.